Hey guys, today we're going to have a look at triangles and straight lines in terms of angle measures, and we're going to have a bit of an introduction into interior and exterior angles, which is really a topic for year 9, but we'll have a little bit of an intro to it today. Now, looking over here, I've got a triangle, and the angles x, y, and 35 are the interior angles of that triangle. Now, I've also extended one of the sides of the triangle just to make that a longer straight line. And then I've got a 60-degree angle on the outside of the triangle. That's called an exterior angle. What we should start off by knowing is that the interior angles of a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. Okay. Now, what you also should know from our title here is that the angles in a straight line are always 180 degrees as well. That's not to say that this angle here, the 35, and the x are on a straight line, so those add to 180. But the angles at one specific point on a straight line add to 180. And to make this even clearer for this note, I'm going to say that the interior angle of a triangle adds with the exterior angle at that same point to make 180 degrees. So interior plus exterior angle. Straight line. Oops, little mistake there. Interior angle and exterior angle make a straight line, right? So just those two angles there. And that means that the interior angle plus the exterior angle must add up to 180 degrees. So just copy that. So that should help us with solving to find these angles. We've got two easy rules that we need to follow, and we can use those rules to make equations. So let's write an equation over here. Angle x and angle 60 are an interior and exterior angle, so those two will add up to 180. Okay, so int plus x equals 180, just to explain my working here, and x plus 60 equals 180. I now have an equation that I can solve, just using that one rule that I've got up above here. Right, so if I want to find x, I need to get x on its own. So x equals, sending my 60 to the other side, I have 180 there first. The order is important, so I'll start with the 180. The 60 was added, so now I move it to the other side and I subtract. And I've got x on its own, and it's equal to 180 minus 60. That is x equals 120. Okay. So I've got x. Let's see if I can find y. Now, I've already used the interior angle and the exterior angle that add to 180, so the straight line. I should be able to use some kind of rule about triangles here as well. Now, this triangle isn't any specific type of triangle. It's a scaling triangle. I'm assuming all of those angles are different. I will find out in a minute. But it's also an obtuse angled scaling triangle. That's an obtuse angle because it's bigger than 90. So angles in a triangle add up to 180. I've already got this angle here, which is 35. I've got x and I've got y, and x is 120. So let's just write the rule first. Angles, int, angles, triangle. Okay, so showing my working here, the interior angles of a triangle, I know those add to 180, so I can go ahead and write that 35 plus x plus y equals 180. Right? I know what x is, so I can go ahead and substitute its value into this. So I'm just going to copy everything from above, but I'm going to replace x with its value, which is 120. So 120. And I can go ahead and simplify and solve that. 35 plus 120 is 155 plus y equals 180. So getting y on its own, y equals 180 is there first. And it was plus 155, so now I'm going to minus 155, and that's going to give me y equals 25. Right? Now you can double check that and make sure that 35 plus 25 plus 120 will add up to 180. 35 plus 25, that makes 60, plus the 120 does make 180. Okay, and you can also double check that x plus 60 makes 180. 120 plus 60, yes, that makes 180. Okay, so we've got our rules up here, and those are really the only rules we're going to need for this exercise. However, there are different types of triangles that we might apply them to. This triangle here, for example, notice I made it really clear in blue that there's markings on each of these sides. That means that they're the same length, so that makes this an isosceles triangle. I'm going to put this in blue if I can. Isosceles triangle. And I want to make that really clear because if it's an isosceles triangle, I know something about the angles as well. That means that angle A and angle B are equal to each other. And I know people often think that it's just the bottom two angles that are equal to each other, but it's the two angles which are both sitting on one of those equal length sides, not the angle in between them. Okay, so I know that angle A is equal to angle B. Okay, that's going to help me, but it doesn't tell me what any of those angles are. I'm going to need to use the one measure that I was given to help me work out at least one of those angles, and that'll help me with the rest. So using that 148 degrees, I see that that's an exterior angle, and A is the interior angle that helps that make a straight line. So I'm going to go ahead and write that rule again. That is the interior plus the exterior equals 180. And just to make this really clear, because we're new to this interior-exterior angle thing, I'm going to write that that's a straight line. Okay, so if the interior angle plus the exterior angles add to 180, because it's a straight line, I can say the interior angle, which is A, plus the exterior angle, which is 148, that will make 180. A plus 148 equals 180. Okay, so if I want to know what A is, I need A on its own. So I'll go over here, I'll put A equals 180. It had plus 148 on one side, so I'm moving it to the other. It's minus 148. And showing your algebraic working here is really important practice to get, because we're at the very end of the year now. You should be able to do this. We should be doing this the right way. Okay, so A equals 180 minus 148. That's going to be 32. A is 32. Okay, I still need to find out what B is and what C is. But remember what I said up above. This is an isosceles triangle, so I know that A and B are the same thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that over here. Isosceles. So I'm explaining my working here. It's isosceles, so that's how I know that B is equal to A. And I know that A is 32, so I know that B is equal to 32 as well. Okay, there's one last angle that I need to find, and that's C. It's not equal to the other two. This is not an equilateral triangle, but it is a triangle, and the angles in a triangle add to 180. So I'm going to go ahead and write that rule, and I'm going to show my working. Int angles of triangle, and it adds to 180, so I can say that A plus B plus C equals 180. A plus B plus C equals 180. I already know what A is and what B is, so I'll just substitute those values in. That's 32 plus 32 plus C equals 180. Okay, and simplifying that, 32 and 32, that's 64 plus C equals 180. I really like to line up my equal signs, so I'll just shift this over a little bit. Equal signs nicely lined up. Better. Okay, now C on its own then, C must be equal to 180 minus the 64, because on the other side it was plus, this side it's minus 64. That leaves C on its own to be 116. Is that right? C equals 116. 6. Just double checking that. 116 plus the 64, yes, that would make 180. So C is 116. I've got A, I've got B, I've got C, and I've explained every step. I'm done. Okay, now one last different type of triangle that we've got down here. And although I haven't told you this angle, I've got this little square in here, so you definitely know that this is a right angle triangle. I'll go ahead and write that to be clear about it. Right angle triangle. Okay, and let's do some working to work out what x is and what y is. Now, x is an interior angle in this triangle, along with that's 90 degrees and that's 25. And y is an exterior angle, which makes a straight line with x, which is an interior angle. So I know that those two are going to add up to 180, and I know that this triangle is going to add to 180. So let's start with this. Switch colors. I know that the interior angles, int angles of triangle, will add up to 180. So I'm going to do x plus 90 plus 25 equals 180. Okay, simplifying that, I know that x plus 90 plus 25 is 115 equals 180. And again, I like to have my equal signs lined up, and as you're writing this, you should be lining up your equal signs as well. That way you can see the balance in the equation. So my x is staying on this side of the equation. My equal signs lined up. I have 180 on the other side of the equation, and then 115 is coming across. On that side it was add, this side I'm going to subtract. 115. Okay. So x on its own, x must equal 180 minus 115, that's going to be 65. Okay, so I've got x, I just need to find out what y is. Again, I know that y is an exterior angle on this triangle, and it makes a straight line with x, which is the interior angle in the triangle. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that rule so it's clear what I'm doing here. Int plus x equals 180. Okay, my interior being x plus my exterior being y equals 180. And once again, I just worked out what x was, so I can just go ahead and substitute that value in. Instead of x, I'll put 65. And get y on its own. To get the y on its own, I need to move the 65 to the other side. The 65 here is adding, so I'm going to do y equals, nicely lined up, 180 minus the 65, and that is 115, sorry. Y equals 115. I don't know why it's not typing right now. Well, y equals 115. Okay, so that should give you a good start for this anyways. Let me just write that in now. Y equals, there, okay. Right, so that should give you a good start on this. Remember, there's only really two rules that you need to know about this. That's that the interior angles of the triangle always add to 180. The interior angle and exterior angle make a straight line, so the interior angle and the exterior angle add to 180 at any one point around the triangle. Be careful though, because you see this is a straight line. I wouldn't be able to draw another line on here like this one and say that means that 35 in this angle is 180. That's not true because that's not a straight line. That line needs to be an extension of one of the sides of the triangle. So that means that there I've got a straight line. That angle and 35 makes 180. Or if I were to draw my straight line in the other direction, come with me here. So if I've got a straight line there, then that angle and that angle, those will add to make 180. Okay, so make sure that you're really clear about this interior-exterior angle rule thing. Good luck with that, and let me know if you need any help.